news, everyone!
Hey everyone, welcome back to Engelbard. In an effort to keep up with relevant goings-on in the retro computing and gaming fields, I've decided that I'll occasionally do off-cycle videos like this to get the news out there when something happens. So what's so newsworthy today? Why, the Raspberry Pi 400! What the f*** is that, and why should you care? Watch on and find out. The Raspberry Pi 400 is essentially a Raspberry Pi 4 built into a keyboard, somewhat reminiscent of the older home microcomputers, things like the Commodore 64, Amiga, Apple II, and the like. For the purposes of my channel, well, that just means it'll be extra handy for retro computer emulation. Before I get ahead of myself, some technical details. First off, the Raspberry Pi 400 runs at 1.8 GHz versus the standard 1.5 for a regular Raspberry Pi 4. It's passively cooled with a large metal heatsink, so there's no fan noise. It comes with 4 GB of RAM. On the back of the unit, you'll see it has 3 USB ports instead of 4, but that's okay since you have the keyboard built in. You then have most of the standard Raspberry Pi 4 ports. 2 micro HDMI, a USB-C for power, Ethernet, and micro SD ports. It's also got access to the GPIO pins. Is anything missing? Well, yeah. The dedicated headphone jack is gone. So for sound, HDMI is your only option for now. The Raspberry Pi 400 comes in 2 variations. You'll be able to buy the unit by itself for $70. Alternatively, you can buy a kit that comes with an AC adapter, micro HDMI to standard HDMI video cable, and a mouse for $100. That actually also comes with a memory card and a book. The memory card's got the OS installed on it, regular Raspberry Pi OS. The book it includes is a guide to getting started with the Raspberry Pi 4 that is especially updated for use with the Raspberry Pi 400. At $100, price-wise, this is fairly in sync with what it would cost to buy these types of components in a Pi 4 separately. Standard RetroPie builds don't quite work with the Pi 400, but there are separate builds already created for it. The problem is the standard RetroPie builds don't recognize keyboard or some peripheral inputs. If you're familiar with Perifractic's channel, he's already gotten a unit in hand and he did some testing on it and helped make the problem known, and the RetroPie devs have already responded with a new version of RetroPie for the Pi 400. So when it comes to cooling, the Pi 400 uses a pretty hefty heatsink and has no type of fan for active cooling. Knowing that the Pi 4 itself can get pretty toasty, how does this work? Another big tech YouTuber who got a Pi 400 early is explaining computers, and he did some testing already on the Pi 400 to see what kind of temperatures the thing runs at. And it runs at roughly the same temperature as a regular Pi 4 in a Flirk case, so we're getting around 51 degrees Celsius, which is well below the point at which it would start to throttle. Alright, so what do I think of this based on what I've seen so far? I think it's pretty cool, and I wish they would have put something like this out a lot sooner, frankly. The price is okay, it's not great, but it's not too bad. I still love the concept of the self-contained little computer, and I'm happy to see a new one. When it comes to emulation, this will be handy for emulating computer systems, even though there are still some kinks to work out. But yeah, it'll be nice having a full keyboard just there, ready and waiting for you whenever you want to emulate something like a Commodore 64, Amiga, or any other computer system. So this will be available for order in just within about a week or so. I'd love to get one of these and do a video on it, so I'm going to see what I can do on that front, but no promises as to when that will be out. So that'll do it for this video, my retro gaming friends. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you want to share your opinions with the world, feel free to do so in the comments and also help spread the word about the channel. With that, I'll say thanks for watching, and see me later.